how to be effective with that sharing, how to be creative with that. And so I teach this using two ways. One is through Twitter. Twitter is our main platform for sharing. It's a wonderful platform, too. I love it. And what I love about it in particular is that my students are not only sharing their work with the professor and with the other 11 students in class, they're sharing their work now with their friends, with family members, and all of their followers. So we have a very large classroom going on. I also teach them, they have a ton of already existing information. What I'm trying to teach them is how to upload it optimally upload it. Okay, so we go through many methods. I call this already existing information optimally uploaded, or AEIOU. And I think it's very effective. My students just have media coming out of their pockets. And what I want them to do is learn what to upload, learn how to upload it, and also, very importantly, learn what not to upload. And I'm not just talking about, you know, beer pong photographs. I'm talking about my students in the first semester, maybe when they take a picture, let's say they'll take a picture of something that they made, they'll usually upload about, I don't know, 17, 18 photographs of an omelet, you know. Great, you know, just give me one. Just give me one. That's all I need. That's all of us need. All right? But this is really just the mechanics of the course. This is the platforms, the social media, some of the readings. What I'm interested in and what I want to kind of share with you is more of the class's philosophy, or its orientation, or its approach. And this approach can be summed up just very simply. I counted it. It's 6 words. Log off before you blog off. And what I'm asking my students to do, which is getting more and more difficult every single year, not just for my students, but for us, is to have senses-driven experiences in physical spaces. To try to experience something, to smell something, to taste something, to touch something, to hear it. And then you can blog about it. No problem. So log off before you blog off. Now, to understand this assignment, to understand this kind of philosophy, I'll give you an example of one assignment. I can share many more, but one of my favorite ones is we have a number of farmers markets, just like in North Carolina. We have a number of farmers markets throughout San Francisco. So my assignment, usually assigned on a Thursday and due on a Tuesday, is very simple. Go to a farmer's market. Find a vegetable that you've never cooked with before. Purchase it. Take it home. Find a recipe. Cook it. Eat it. And then blog about it. Right? So I call this the Cook Something New assignment. And throughout the process, there's a lot more intricacies, but that's basically what it is. Throughout the process, I want the students to learn a little bit about the food that they purchased. Learn a little bit about the farmer who grew it. Learn a little bit about the farm that raised it. All right? Now, I understand that my students are not these Neo-Luddite, logged-off farmers market travelers. They are always on. I understand that. They use their phones to figure out the bus schedules to get to the farmers markets. They use their phones to take photographs of the food. They use their phones to tweet messages like, "Oh my God, I'm at the farmer's market." They use their phones to find the recipes. They use their phones to text their mothers. One student texted his father. They use their phones to text their mothers for recipes. So they're always on their phone, and I understand that, but my goal, what I want them to do is to basically do something that I think they're having a difficult time with, which is to exercise your senses. To exercise your senses. You know, touch that piece of fruit. You know, smell it, taste it, eat it, talk to people about food. Now, what I'm trying to do is a difficult thing, because I not only give this assignment once, I usually give this assignment twice, 3, 4, 5 times in the semester. And when I give the assignment the second time, the students usually said, but David, we've already done that. And it's fascinating. I said, really? Really? So if you go to the farmer's market, you think this week or next week, won't it be different? And I think they're so used to Safeway, where the tomatoes, whether it's February or August, are always in the same spot. Or they'll say, but you know, I understand that assignment. I already cooked with carrots. And I tell them, you know, there's other vegetables. So we do this over and over again, over and over again. And what I'm trying to do for them and for myself is trying to kind of reclaim something that consumer capitalism, that nature deficit disorder, and that climate change is seeking to destroy, and that is seasons. I'm trying to get my students to think seasonally. Now, I want my students to think seasonally for many reasons: environmentally, politically, socially, economically, aesthetically, romantically, all kinds of different reasons. But the main thing happens to do, for me, it happens to relate to attention span. And I think that this is something that seems to be always on the surface of what we do, of interest. But it seems to me that this has been rising to the top for the last few years. Oh, time? Perfect, thank you. And I think Howard Rheingold's doing a lot of work on this. But I want to talk this will take 30 seconds of your attention. And I think that what I'm interested in for my students is a new form of attention span. I'm not interested in attention span for a lecture, for an hour, for a class or a series of lectures. I'm interested in my students developing an engaged and creative and collaborative attention span that lasts for 3 to 4 months, or what we just call a season. Okay? Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Have not practiced this. As you can see, my panelists all deserted me. I don't know if it was something I said, but I'm up here alone. David, thank you. So we want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. They can stay there if they can speak loudly enough, or they can come up here and join us. And so we're happy to take questions now. Oh, great. Okay. And that will help, too, if you go and stand up at the microphone. I'll be able to manage this better.
I mean, I think your learning outcomes are fabulous, but how do you assess them and grade them?
That's a good question. At the end of the day, my students are doing stuff that's very similar to what we always do, except doing it on paper. Instead of doing it on paper, they're doing blog posts. So I assess the quality of the photography. I assess the quality of the writing. But then there's other elements. I assess the quality of sharing their information. Don't just tell me what farm you got your lettuce from. I want a link to that farm, and I want some direct quotes from that farmer, and I want a whole bunch of kind of almost investigative journalism with that. But on top of that, what I assess them for is that so much of their projects is the blog post, but I would say 51% is also the comments. I want to know how those students are also commenting on other people's projects, and more importantly, or equally importantly, I want to know how the student is receiving comments and answering. So just to give one example, a student did an incredible blog post about, I think it was a risotto, a delicious risotto, and one person, who knows who this person was, I didn't recognize the person, added a comment saying, you know, I'm really curious, can you add, in place of onions, can you add peppers or something like that? my student did something that you never should do. She left that